right now. Today is the day that you choose to change the rest of your life. It is time to turn your setback into the greatest comeback story ever told, and nobody is more capable than you. Friday! This is the Ranting Weight Watcher podcast, the future #1 weight loss podcast in the world. I am your host, Donato Russo. I hope you enjoy the show today. If this is your first time here and you enjoy the show, please subscribe and spread the word of the Ranting Weight Watcher podcast wherever you are and to whomever will listen. If you'd like to connect on social media or wherever else, check out my Linktree page, Linktree/the Ranting Weight Watcher. Let's connect today. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to episode 167 of the Ranting Weight Watcher podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome to the show. Please, if you enjoy it, consider subscribing. Whatever app you're using to listen to the show, if it allows you to rate or leave feedback about the show, please consider leaving feedback and rating the show. When you do this, what it does is it boosts the show higher on the list. So if someone else goes into the same app you're using and they're searching for a weight loss related podcast, the Ranting Weight Watcher will show up higher on the list than it would have if you didn't rate it or didn't leave feedback on it. And once again, I want to say a very happy Thanksgiving from my family to yours. It is really the first battle we face as we go through the holiday scenario that we all find ourselves in at this time of year. Well, let's not delay it anymore. Let's get into this! Journey updates. Well, I stayed the same this week. And if you've been here any amount of time, you know that I can't stand staying the same. Now, so many of you that are new here, maybe this is your first time experiencing me staying the same. You're thinking, what's the big deal? It's not a gain, right? But I would almost rather it be. See, like, when I have a gain in my head, the way the inner workings of Donato work, I know what to do. When I have a loss, again, the inner workings know what to do. When I say the same, it's like when you're using a computer, then all of a sudden it freezes up and it's saying not responding, and the little thing is circling over and over and over again, and you're waiting for some magical moment that the computer just starts working again, when really all you got to do is reboot the thing, because that's the only thing that's going to fix it. That's kind of like what I go through whenever I do stay the same. It's a good thing that it happens so seldom that you can count on one hand per year the amount of times I stay the same. But everything else stays the same because of that. I am down 3.2 for the month of November. Total since January 2019, I am down 171.8 pounds. Total pounds remaining to get to the 175-pound milestone is 3.2. And the total pounds remaining to get to the 200-pound milestone is 28.2. I am currently in phase 4 and week 8 of my quest to lower carbohydrates in my life. Phase 4 is dealing with Sunday, and phases 1, 2, and 3 dealt with Monday through Friday. The goal at this point is to have 6 days of the week where I'm intaking 175 grams of carbohydrates per day, and protein is elevated somewhere around 230 grams per day. That's the goal right now. Get all 6 days like that. Now, Monday through Friday is like that already. And again, phase 4 is working on getting the numbers down for Sundays. This past Sunday was a fail. I went over a little bit on calorie intake of 2,334 calories. I was under on my protein intake of 168 grams. My carbohydrate intake was over at 228 grams. And my fat intake was over at 108 grams. For the week, I averaged 2,300 calories per day. Protein was at 233, which is right where I want it. Carbohydrates was a little elevated, 186. And the fat was under at 74 grams. So tomorrow, if you're listening to this on the day I'm releasing it, tomorrow will be Thanksgiving. And I just wanted to give you kind of like a breakdown of my game plan so far. I tracked my entire day for Thanksgiving at this point. Now, just so you know, I get 30 points per day on WW. The amount of points tracked for the entire day of Thanksgiving is 101 points. This means I have to make up 70 points in order to make this work out. Now, I explained to you guys by creating weeklies, by going out for walks, that's how I do it. Now, at this point, it is Tuesday that I'm recording this. So far this week, so my week resets on Saturdays, right? So that means I start accruing weeklies as of Saturday. I start every week with 28 weeklies. And so far, I have added 87 weeklies. So Saturday, I earned 24 with my walk. Sunday, I earned 28 with my walk. Monday, I earned 15 with my walk. And Tuesday, I earned 19 with my walk. Now, I still have Wednesday to earn, and I still have Thursday to earn. So there's still plenty of time to earn some more points and rack them up even higher. At this moment, with Thanksgiving tracked, I am at negative 12 weeklies. So if you don't understand why that's the way it is because I used some of the weeklies I had over the weekend. We went out to dinner, and so some of the points got used on Saturday night. But at this point, I am negative 12 weeklies, and there's plenty of week left to make it up so that I am not negative by the Thanksgiving meal. So I will earn somewhere between 15 and 20 points tomorrow if I do the exact same walk I did the last 2 days. I will earn the same amount of points for Thursday if I do the exact same walk. Sometimes I do a slightly longer walk like I do on weekends, and that's why I get in the higher ranges of 24, 28 points. But if I do my normal weekday walk, I will earn somewhere between 15 and 20 points. So let's say it's minimum, it's 15. So there's a possibility of earning 30 additional points, which will put me over the negative 12, and I will end with a positive weekly balance. Like I had said before, my game plan isn't so much about making sure you lose weight with the holiday. It's about making sure that whatever you decide to eat is tracked, number one, and that you feel no guilt when it's all over with. That's all I care about. If you want to tweak this system some point in your life after you experience it once and you want to make it so you come out with a loss, then go for it. Do whatever you need to do to make that work that way. But what I'm saying to you is, I'd rather you feel good about what work you put in and have a gain than to feel bad about what you did, have a gain, and then feel guilty on top of it. You understand what I'm saying here? I know as of now, on Tuesday, I am negative 12 weeklies. I know I have 2 days left to make those weeklies go in the positive and have everything tracked. All in all, the total amount of points tracked between dessert and the dinner and my breakfast is 101 points. I have everything in there down to the measurement. I have 12 ounces of turkey breast. I have a cup of stuffing, a cup of sweet potatoes. I have all kinds of pie. I have apple pie. I have pumpkin pie. I have custard pie. That's where all the points are going to, those 3 slices of pie. Will I eat all of these? I don't know. But they are there because if I do eat them all, then they were there from the beginning. I made the choice ahead of time. You see what I'm doing here? It's Tuesday, and I have decided that I'm eating 3 slices of pie before I'm staring at them. Do you understand the magnitude of what I'm delivering to you here? I decided I'm having 3 slices of pie on Tuesday before I'm looking at them, before I feel tempted by them, before the day even gets here. I have decided, number 1, I'm going over my points. Number 2, I've decided to have 1 slice of 3 pies. And number 3, I've decided on what exactly I'm going to eat and how much I'm going to eat of it for the entire meal. Now, on the day, after I have accumulated all of the weeklies that I'm going to need to accumulate, now I told you I'm negative 12 right now. I have the opportunity to gain at least 30 more if I walk the minimum that I normally walk on a weekday. If I earn 30 more, I will be in the positive 18 weeklies. That's how I will end this week. This is not a method of losing weight. This is a method of you coming out of the first round of the holiday season feeling like you did everything you said you'd do. So now on Thursday, when I sit down at that table and the turkey's on the table and all of that stuff, all I need to do is execute what I tracked. I need to make sure there's a cup of stuffing. I need to make sure there's a cup of sweet potato. I need to make sure there's a half a cup of cranberry sauce. I need to make sure there's 12 ounces of turkey. Do you follow me? You see where I went here? And then at dessert, if there's still room, I need to make sure that there's 1 slice of each of those pies. And even if I don't finish them, no big deal. The one thing I will not allow myself to do is decide what to eat on the day. I will not stare at the food on the table and say, oh, I really, really want more of that. I tracked it. I decided ahead of time, and now I will execute it. This is the way you come out of the holiday with 0 guilt. Don't make decisions in the moment when you're moved by what you see on the table. Make all of your decisions before you see the food. And I'm telling you that when all is said and done, you won't feel like you compromised. You will feel like you simply came up with a plan and executed it. And then on top of that, to have put in enough work to come out of it positive in weeklies and not negative. Look, all of that's a win. Can't you see? All of that is a win. This is what I wanted you to understand from the very beginning. When I told you to install the Fitbit app and use your phone as a tracker and to go out for walks and to connect this app to WW so your WW account can get the same data that your Fitbit is creating, all of that translates into weekly points. So that when days like this comes, when Christmas comes, you're going to have a lot more confidence. And look, I've said it to you a million times, nothing has to be perfect. But track all of that ahead of time and execute on the day of. That's what I'm telling you. I have a very special episode planned for today. I have a special guest, Cintia Listenbee. She is part of the consistency group. She does a lot of participating in the consistency group. She's always supporting people. She has her little video she makes every Wednesday telling everybody about what she's doing. And I just wanted to give her a moment to just tell you her story and everything like that. I also found out, I didn't know this ahead of time, so I'm recording this after the interview. I found out she has her own podcast. And if you are interested, you can listen on Spotify. The name of the podcast is called Simply Cintia. It's like Cynthia without the H. Okay? So Simply Cintia. I will link in the description of the podcast, so you can, if you wish, you can join. I mean, I wish I could have talked to her about it. It looks like she covers a little bit of her journey, a little bit of her faith. There's all kinds of stuff mixed in of what she's doing. But I wish I could have gotten more about her podcast during my interview with her. Again, I didn't find out until after the fact. So again, the name of her podcast is called Simply Cintia. Here we go. The interview with Cintia Listenbee. I would like to welcome to the show, Cintia. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me, Donato.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about your journey, wherever you want to start. If you want to start like before, what brought you to Weight Watchers, and then go from there.
Okay. I came officially to Weight Watchers in 2010 after I had my second child, who is now 13. I now have 3 kids. So what I've experienced were the ups and downs of motherhood and my weight along with that. And the reason why I joined Weight Watchers, it was because I saw a lot of people around me getting results. So I joined a small meeting and I found a lot of success. I lost around 30 pounds at that time. And unfortunately, we couldn't afford to pay for the meetings. So my husband and I were just kind of starting out in our family life. Funds were not abundant. So we decided, hey, let's let go of the membership for now. After I finished crying my tears, I said, I'm going to do what they taught me to do. And I lost an additional 20 pounds after that, just by following all the teachings from Weight Watchers. So life goes on. I have a 3rd baby, gained some weight to lose the weight again by myself. But life just kept happening. I hit a state where I was really stressed out, gained a lot of weight, and I just couldn't lose it. So I told myself, as soon as I have a chance, I'm going to go back to Weight Watchers once again, because I know I can get results. So this final time was 2017, and I'm still here. I hit a time in life where I was stressed out, I was job searching, and I was not doing the things that I know I'm supposed to do. So I gained some back. So I'm on the way back down again.
Can you tell me how you found the podcast initially?
I was at the time living in East Texas. It was around 2020. I think it was 2020. And I was just searching for Weight Watchers podcast. So yours were one that was that came up on the results. To be completely transparent with you, I didn't become a faithful listener then. I listened to some episodes and I was just like, okay. But I came back to listening to you full force. I'd say it was around a year and a half, 2 years ago. I found this podcast in the community to be a gift in disguise, because more people are going to know about this because it's excellence. The content is excellence. I call this podcast a masterclass in consistency. And 2 years ago, I discovered I need consistency. So your podcast has been a blessing in that area for me.
I noticed that when I initially saw you join the consistency group, you were a little quiet in the beginning, and now I see you kind of like you have blossomed. You're making your videos, which I enjoy seeing. What changed in that time period?
I think I started observing the community at first, and I saw that everybody there was after what I'm after. People were just very transparent. They were posting their food journals, no matter what the day brings. They're also creative where some will just post pictures, there's some videos in there, but the honesty that I saw really made me feel like this is a place where I too can blossom. So I love to do videos. So it's just like, oh, I'll just tell people what's happening. And I do mine in the middle of the week because I feel like it's a good place to tell people this is what I've done so far and this is what I plan on doing. But the honesty, transparency, and just the happy feeling I get from the group encourage me to participate more.
That's great. I love it. I loved seeing you kind of come out of your shell. When you could always see when a new member comes, it's more, they're quiet, they're just observing, and you could see all of a sudden when they start to buy in, it's like the light bulb. You can see the light bulb happen, the light bulb moment, and it was nice to see that happen with you. And that's part of the reason why I was motivated to have you on the show. We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. I now present to you the Ranting Weight Watcher Accountability Creed. If you choose this day to say this creed, you are accountable to me, the author. You are also accountable to all of those before you who have taken the creed, and all of those after you who will take the creed. But most of all, you are accountable to yourself. Now recite with me the Accountability Creed. Nothing can stand in my way because I choose to be unstoppable. My challenges crumble in my presence because I choose strength when I am weak. My insecurities have no power over my life because I choose confidence in the face of fear. I own every last one of my mistakes because I choose growth over mediocrity. The mirror and the scale are powerless because I move forward in spite of the result. Circumstances are not obstacles because I see solutions instead of problems. The demons of my past can no longer torment me because I choose to renew my mind daily. All things are possible as long as I believe, because if God is for me, who can be against me? This is the creed I declare each day. It is about what I do, not what I say. I will learn the work that needs to be done. I will never stop, even when I've won. I will work consistently, no matter the cost. I refuse to believe that all hope is lost. I will work when I want to. I will work when I don't. I will work when they are cheering. I will work when they won't. I will work when it's easy. I will work when it's hard. The atonements that I've made are made with no regard. I will work when it's cold. I will work when it's hot, because choices have consequences, justified or not. When I think I know it all, I will start back at one, because regardless of what I think, the work is never done. And from this moment forward, when times are tough, I choose to believe that I am enough. And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. So in the overall aspect of your, so like from beginning to now, whatever time period you want to concentrate on, what would you say you struggled most with that caused the up and down fluctuations throughout this?
Grief was a big one. I lost both of my grandmothers in Brazil back to back. At that time, I think I had lost a good 20 something pounds with Weight Watchers. So that was really tough. I remember just feeling so bad and just wondering, where do I go from here? And my husband said, don't stop. You did so much work. You have to keep going. So when I hit those low moments, it's when I have my choice. And, I've had moments where I hit a low, for example, things are extremely stressful at work or I'm job searching, and it's just very difficult. So I make the opposite choice, as in I just go to the pantry and I eat a lot after dinner. And then I just wake up the next day and I try to start over again. So during those moments of grief, of stress is my arch enemy. And that's something that I learned in this journey. So I got to a point where I could pretend like I didn't know what my arch enemy was, or I could face it. It is stress, and we're going to have to find a way to manage it.
Is there any key that you found to help you successful in regards to, so it was like stress and emotional eating kind of connected from what I'm understanding. Was there anything that happened or anything you started to do or implement that helped you get through, like that would help anybody else who deals with stress and emotional eating and stuff?
I learned what the source of my problem was. I didn't know it was stress. I knew I felt bad. And since I was a child, I would just kind of stuff my face and eventually I would feel better. So learning what the source was the first step. And then I had to educate myself on what are some of the tools that I can use to manage the stress. So I found out that journaling is one of my top tools that I use. Going outside and walking is another tool that I use, talking to somebody. So finding out what the source of the problem is for me was the key that helps me to go on. Because the truth be told, I'm still going to deal with stress until I die. So I have to find a way to manage it. So I don't glorify stress now as much as I know, okay, so I'm stressed and I need to reach out to some tools and manage it.
So journaling was one thing you did, and then your walks. So would you say that you getting out and walking relieved a lot of the stress?
It does. Now is the number one thing that I do is exercising. I started walking, Donato, and during that time, this was pre-Weight Watchers. I was overweight. I recently found out I had high blood pressure. I was 26 at the time. And my doctor was very nice. And she gave me an ultimatum. She said, either you change your life or you're going to die young. I was like, tell me what to do and I'll completely do it. So back then I discovered that exercise and I read a lot about it. As well, I did a little research. So that's a part of my journey, just convincing my brain that this is good for me. So I found out it has amazing results, not only for weight loss, but for stress management. So I decided to practice. So I started walking and that evolved to running. And now I do CrossFit. So exercise is something that I use on a regular basis, not only to fight stress, but now like I enjoy it and it makes me feel really good. And I wanted to add one more thing. In the beginning of this journey, I never thought I would enjoy exercising as much as I do now. So what I did do when I was overweight, depressed, with high blood pressure, I got whatever notebook was next to me and I wrote down, one day I'm going to enjoy exercising. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't have tennis shoes. I didn't know what to wear. I didn't know where to go. So I just wrote that down. And then I put it somewhere I could see it often, which was in my bathroom. And the quote unquote magic was the action that followed up. I went and walked to my mailbox, and then I went and walked to the next street over. And 17 years later, I'm doing CrossFit and I'm really enjoying moving. So there's always a small step.
I love that, how you kind of came to it. Would you say that there was ever a moment like, oh my God, where you realize I'm here? I'm at the point where I enjoy it. Like that moment where did you have like a moment where you happened to just, oh my God, I'm here. That piece of paper is now life. It's real.
Several moments when I started doing long distance runs. I remember I was doing an 18-mile run with my running group. And it was in the middle of it. Maybe we were at mile 9 or 10. And I just looked at what I was doing and I told God, thank you for the health to do this. Because without being healthy, there's no way I could do this. And I found that picture, like I took a picture of the little paper that said, one day I'm going to enjoy exercising. And I look at it every now and then just as a way of being grateful because of that small step. And that led to other small steps in my life, in my professional life, in my personal life. So I'm a big proponent in taking that one small step, which might seem minuscule or some people might despise it, but big things come when we decide we're going to take that small step and we're not going to believe that we can't do it.
So you mentioned God. Would you say that your faith has helped you in all of this?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm a personal prayer. I'm a Christian and I pray about all of this stuff. I always pray for wisdom. I always pray that God will guide me. And believe it or not, I even believe that finding your community was an answer to prayer because I was at a crossroads where I could keep doing life Weight Watchers the same way as I was before, but I had a choice and I wanted to change and I wanted to improve. So I found your podcast a couple of years before. I found the CrossFit community that I have right now. So things are definitely coming together. And I cannot point at anything else other than getting on my knees the first thing in the morning and praying and asking God, give me wisdom to live this life. And He uses people like you, and He uses the community to help us to get to where we're going. So I'm very grateful for that.
That's wonderful. I love that. So now we are in a time of year where a lot of people are really nervous. They don't want to lose the progress they created. They don't want to, and they're really intimidated. Would you say that at this point, or even ever, have the holidays intimidated you in any way?
100%. I was very intimidated. It wasn't so much the holiday because I love the holiday. And just a little bit of background, I was born and raised in Brazil. That's where most of my family still lives. That's where my parents are. So we didn't grow up with Thanksgiving. So coming to the States, I was just like, what? You can't have Christmas twice? This is amazing. I love the holiday. I love the foods. My friends, they introduced me to Thanksgiving in college. They can really cook well. So, I mean, I've loved this, but I had some family conflict in the past. And Thanksgiving is when everybody comes together. So I was really nervous about that. And I had been using food to cope with the stress. So I have a soft spot for people that, although they love the holidays, just like, man, we're going to have conflict and this stuff is going to be really complex. So it was intimidating for a long time.
What would you say helped you to or is it still intimidating now, first of all, or are you past that?
Right now, I'm past that, not only because I don't think time heals all things and all conflicts. I believe that with time, wisdom comes, and action steps followed up by wisdom is what fixed my problem. I discovered that I'm only responsible for myself. So no matter what people say, no matter what people do, like nobody's going to get a bunch of spoons of ice cream and feed me. Like I do that.
I agree.
So, so it was up to me to change. So again, baby steps. The first step was education. I learned that, and I didn't know this. I think I used to eat maybe 3,000 calories in one sitting. And I was just like, wow, that's a lot. So how can I tweak that a little bit? So the next Thanksgiving, I tweaked it a little bit. When Weight Watchers came in the picture, I learned a million other tools, and now it's manageable and it's doable. But it was hard when I thought, oh, it's going to be stressful and I'm just going to eat pecan pie until somebody rolls me out of the table. So I went from that to, okay, so here's some steps that I can take. We can go outside, we can take a breather, we can enjoy eating, and we can stop. We can come up with a plan before. So things are more manageable now.
Are there foods like, so every Thanksgiving that comes, or holiday in general, is there a food that it doesn't matter how it's perceived, whether it's good food or bad food or whatever it is, it's the food you have to have because you won't say no to it?
Oh, first of all, I love Weight Watchers because if we count the cost, which, is part of holiday planning, I'm doing it, you can have it. Pecan pie, I did not grow up with pecan pie in Brazil. It was something that I learned about here. It's one of the greatest American inventions in my mind. So I'm going to have it for Thanksgiving. Not only that, but my husband's hometown, which is where we spend Thanksgiving, there's a fabulous bakery there. So that's where we get the pecan pie from. I also did not grow up with dressing. I know some people call it stuffing. Another great American invention. I was just like, oh my God, stuff is really good. So I love dressing with cranberry sauce.
For this holiday, for 2023, is there anything you're implementing to help you get through this time as opposed to other times?
I I listened to your previous episodes. I forgot what the number is, but about the holiday plan. And I asked myself, I love the podcast because I always learn something. I was just like, why didn't you do this before? And I had a plan and I would carry it with me to the day of Thanksgiving. But because you recorded that maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I tracked my food then and I calculated how many points. And I also know how much exercise I need to do in order to balance it. I would naturally do that. I just never really counted the cost. So I think I came up with 38 points. And the plan is to enjoy all the foods that I'm going to enjoy, the greens, the cornbread, the dressing, the pecan pie. And the morning of it, we're going to run a turkey trot. So that's going to count Monday through Thursday. We're going to take a couple of walks. So the plan is to remember that Thanksgiving is one day and I'm not taking an eating tour of my husband's hometown. I'm feeding. I want to have energy. I'm telling you, like when you travel with family, sometimes it feels like you're just on an eating tour and it's just like, wait a minute. I want health. I want to be energetic. I want to enjoy family and just taking it easy and practicing these things, the exercise and tracking and enjoying the foods and stopping when I'm satisfied are some of the things I'm going to do in order to remain accountable.
Yeah, let me ask you this. If there was one thing you would love to see change about the podcast or you would love to see me do in regards to the podcast, what would that be?
You have a lot of wisdom that is untapped. And it's not because of the format of the podcast, which I think is excellent, but it's because podcasts are one way. So somebody might have a question afterwards. I remember commenting on the community and you said something the last time, like you dropped gem after gem after gem. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so good. The last thing you told me, like it was a post in the community, was truth is the best tool. It was something so small, but something so significant. And I was just like, man, we could have like a whole podcast about this because it is so true. Every time that I face the truth about myself, it becomes the most powerful tool that catapults me into my goal, into the right way. So I think the more questions we have that you can answer in the podcast, I feel like we gain even more. And I know you do that throughout the year, but I guess this is a compliment and in a way just saying like there's so much wisdom. So if there's a way that you can answer more questions, I think it would be excellent and very much appreciated.
If there was somebody out there right now that is completely intimidated, that are so overwhelmed by what they feel that they're just wanting to just deal with it afterwards, take, I don't know, 1-2 minutes, whatever you want to say, and just talk to that person out there. Tell them what you really think that they should do. Or if you're the last person they're going to hear before they make the decision, what would you say to them?
You're lovely just the way you are. Your worth, your value is not dictated by what you feel you lack. You're lovely. You're a great person. You can give yourself a chance to succeed by keeping up with the healthy habits and the tools that WW offers. You can give yourself a chance to succeed. Sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, and by saying, I'm going to give up now and come back in January, you don't give yourself a chance to succeed. What if this time I succeed? What if taking a small step towards my goal is what will really catapult me to reaching all my dreams and all the things that I want to do health-wise? Your willingness to succeed needs to become greater than your proclivity to self-sabotage. I'll say that again. Your willingness to succeed needs to become greater than your proclivity to self-sabotage. You have to find out why you want to do this, why you want to succeed. For me, it was because I want health. I want peace. I want self-control. I want to live a life that is a quality life. So what is the reason why you want to succeed? That has to become greater than your willingness to say, oh, I'll forget it. I'll start in January. You have what it takes. You really do. One of the hidden gems of this WW world is the Ranting Weight Watcher podcast and also the community. When you join the community, a lot of us are there to encourage you, to hold your hand, and to remind you every day that you have what it takes. But you have to take that step, and we're here to remind you that you can totally do it.
Cynthia, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to have you on. I loved hearing your story. I hope one day I can have you on again and we could talk about other things besides our past and maybe bounce ideas off each other for whatever other topic you could come up with. I hope everyone listening has enjoyed the last couple of weeks with the special guests and the buildup of the game plan and how it works and the explanations and everything. I hope it hasn't been too tedious and boring and whatever else. I really hope that you got something from the last month and a half of everything I've been trying to give you. Because really, the whole reason for this podcast is for me to impart whatever knowledge I've obtained to try and get you to succeed the same way. Because, look, the idea of losing weight and how to do it and what you need to do, all of us knows what to do. That's just a given. We all know how we got here, and we all know what we have to do to get back. But the thing is, probably 85-90% of the work is managing to get you out of your own way so that you could actually do the work that's needed. Because so much of this is mental. And nobody really realizes how much is mental until they have to start removing the things that they have no idea that they have to remove. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to get you to realize that if you can get out of your own way for 5 minutes, the sky is the limit. You can do anything if you just get out of your own way. I thank you so much for making me a part of your week every week. This podcast has become something so much more than I ever anticipated. It makes me feel like I found a place in the world. It makes me feel like there's something I can contribute somewhere. I never really felt that before, but I feel it now. And seeing how it helps you guys only propels me to do it more. I'm so thankful for all of you. I'm so thankful that you would use your valuable time to listen to what I have to say. No matter how ludicrous I might sound at sometimes, no matter how obsessive I may become, you listen to me each week. Thank you. Thank you so much for making the Ranting Weight Watcher a part of your life. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.